to the Weekend Journal. I'm Jack O'Malley, and we talk about politics here, not federal politics. Every once in a while it might blow through, but I'm focused on state politics because if you haven't listened to the show before, the whole idea is I believe most folks really don't know what's going on in Lansing, and if they think they do, they think it's just like Washington. And I think Lansing is a lot different than Washington. And just trying to give you some insight as to what's happening. And one of the things I think to convey some of that is this next topic. House Bill 4420 passed through the House pretty much unanimously. There was a couple, I guess, not there, but overall everybody else voted yes. And we have the sponsor with us. That's Rep Tom Kunse from Clare, and he can tell us all about it. Representative, thanks for being on the Weekend Journal.
The Honorable Mr. O'Malley, it's a pleasure to be here. So, listen, everything, you're a journalist, so forgive me, I don't remember who said it, but it was democracy dies in darkness. And I did the Washington Post, maybe?
Yeah, I'll take your word for it.
Sounds good. And that's where we're at now. So there are a lot of good reasons to ask for funding for your district. There's a school that needs a sewer extension, or we need a fire truck, or, there are good causes for it. There are also some causes that maybe raise an eyebrow. So all we're trying to do here is, if you want, and it's really a simple bill, and I was glad to see that it did pass unanimously, 108, we had 2 people gone. If you want money for your district, it's a simple form. It's like a page-and-a-half form, really simple information, but it's public. And this is what we're telling everybody. You're going to sign your name to it, and it's going to go up on the website, and the whole world can see it. So, you can ask for whatever you want. And we had valid requests. A representative asked for money from Michigan Tech University. Great, that's a good cause.
Sure.
And again, there were fire trucks and sewer extensions and, dam assessments. And I mean that by the water sense of dam. These are good things. However, our goal is to, when the budget in Michigan gets passed, usually it's late and everybody's tired, and they come and they say, what's it going to take to get you to support this budget? And historically, people have said, well, I could support it, if I got this. Well, those days are over. No more last-minute deals that get thrown in the budget to sweeten it. Now it's going to be public, and the whole world can see. So we have to start with transparency. That's the first question to answer.
Well, and it goes to another thought while you were chatting, Tom. People refer to this as pork, and I would always say to people, well, all pork isn't bad. Like you said, the fire truck or the sewer extension, that would fall under the category of pork because it's something for your district above and beyond. The problem is, I think, again, like in my lead-in, you've got the federal government where they'll tack everything onto a bill to add stuff, and nobody knows what it is. And that's the sense that I think a lot of people have. But to your point, you're absolutely right. In my time there, I have to admit, I wondered sometimes when these budgets were coming through, and 3 weeks later you hear about something that was in it, and you go, wait a minute, where'd that come from? So this is a clear look in the mirror, and you know what you got.
There you go. Right, exactly. And there should be no secrets. Listen, if you, it's funny, pork is anything that's not in my district. That's the definition of pork. And we all use the same thing, Listen, if you're not willing to go public with your request, then you need to look in the mirror and decide if this genuinely, is this really a good use, the highest use of taxpayer dollars? And that's all we're trying to say. We're not trying to embarrass everybody. And eventually it does become public when the budget is passed. But like you said, we're going to pass an $84 billion budget this year. And that's just an amazing number to me.
It is.
So, you slip a few million here and a few million there, and that's going to be hard to catch until, like you said, weeks after. Well, once the weeks are after and it's gone and we've all gone home for the month of July, that doesn't really, there's no transparency there. It's too late. The horse has left the barn.
Yes. And, one of the other things is, I remember, people would come to you, and I'm sure they do to you too. Hey, can you get us this amount of money? Can you get us that amount of money? As crazy as this sounds, it might be kind of like, no, I can't go. My mom and dad would kill me. You guys now have a little bit of an out. Whoa, man! I tell you what, I got to put everything on paper, and I've already got a list as
Right.
long as my arm. I want to get something. It does give you guys a little bit of wiggle room when people are coming looking for cash.
Right. And we had some representatives with, I don't know the highest number of requests, but, 8, 9, 10. And we had some representatives that said, no, I'm not going to request any money. I'm not going to do this. Most of the rest of us were in the middle. Hey, wait a minute. I've already had 2 or 3 requests. I'm not going to go for another one. And I think people realize that. And again, like you said, this is going to be public. So if I ask for, millions of dollars for the Jack O'Malley water park, well, that might not be good for anybody. So that's what we want. People should make an informed decision, and that's what this bill does.
We're chatting with Representative Tom Kunse from Clare, Republican. He is a sponsor of the bill that would codify House transparency rules into state law. What do you think the odds of the Senate going for it are?
Well, I'm optimistic, Jack. I think you have to be an optimist in this job.
Sure.
The fact that it passed the House unanimously, that's a good thing. Right now, the focus is on the budget. The Senate has their budget out. We have our road plan out. We've released parts of our budget. I think we're going to have to get the $84 billion question solved and then move forward. So there's a bit of a logjam. The House has been a little hesitant to take up Senate bills, and the Senate's been a little hesitant to take up House bills. That's got to change. We are divided government, okay, but we still have responsibilities. So I'm optimistic. This is one of those bills where you can look at it, and I'm not just saying this because it's my bill. How can you be against it? How can you argue against transparency? I'm not saying you can't ask for money. I'm just saying when you do, it's going to be public.
Yeah,
so
let everybody know.
I don't know if I could assign a number, if I could say 70%, but that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I think we have a 3 and 4 chance. If we can get it to the Senate and get a hearing, I think it passes. And the governor has indicated transparency is one of her priorities. So I think the governor would sign it.
Yeah, I think this is a bill that everybody can get behind. And as you said, who can argue with, well, we just want everybody to know what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we'll see. I am optimistic. Of course, we're in Lansing, and sometimes politics get in the way of common sense. But this one, I think, has legs. Good traction. I've met off the record with some of my Democratic senator colleagues. I just need a couple of them to come along and just move this forward. Let's see. So I'm optimistic.
So I'm not sure what all the committees you're on, sir, but I guess since I got you here, I need to ask the question if you can give us any kind of a scoop. Any word on the Republican budgets? Any idea when they're going to start popping up out of their, the ground?
So I'm not on the appropriations side.
I didn't think so.
On policy, I'm transportation, agriculture. I'm on communication, and then the education committee. Those 4. So
Okay.
They did release up on Mackinac last week. They had an outline of the education budget. Of course, the education budget, I'd really like to get that done in June, and I think that's a goal for everybody because the school's fiscal year starts July 1. So, the K-12 budget goes to the front of the line, which So we have an off-site meeting Tuesday in 5 days, and we're going to go over it there. I don't know when it's going to roll out, but everybody understands that, it needs to happen in June. So let's get it out. Then we do have a little bit more time. I'd like to get everything done as soon as possible just so we can all plan for it. But, yeah, the K-12 budget goes to the front of the line, and I'm optimistic we can get it done. Tim Kelly is the representative in charge of that budget.
Yeah.
And, boy, this guy's impressive. He's done a good job. He's thorough, and he's ready to go on it.
Very good. We are chatting with Tom Kunse, representative from Clare. Sir, thanks for being with us. And we